the pros and the cons of being a part of a church as an entrepreneur.
Ooh.
Leo, it's great to have you here
Good
today
to be
for
here,
this
brother.
important discussion. How
Good
you
to
doing?
see you, Reverend.
I need you to preach heavy on today, sir. And we're gonna have to bring the heat because there's a lot to talk about
A lot to
in the
talk
church.
about. I hope we can squeeze it all in an hour.
Probably not. We always dip a little over an hour.
We'll even want more. That's all right. Man, all right, being an entrepreneur in church, my God.
So let's start off
This
right.
is definitely a topic that's close to the heart. I think our listeners will find it really valuable just because your network and my network, I think, have a lot of folks that are in the church or part of the church or were at one time. So I think they'll benefit from it. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs come out of the church, and I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, still in the church. And so I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, we met in church, right? We've both been ministers in a church. We've both been in leadership. I've planted a church. I've worked at several churches. I work with churches now. And we're so like church is so much a part of our stories that it would be disingenuous not to really speak into what's such a big part of both of our lives. But we're going to start off right. We're not going to come in with the criticism, right? We're going to come in with the benefits. So let's dive in. Leo, what are your thoughts and what are some of the benefits of being a part of a church as an entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is you have a community. You have a group of people that may need your services and whatever it is, or products. And if you believe in it, they know you, they'll give you a shot 9 times out of 10. So that's really beneficial, especially if they've gotten to watch you for a few years. That's really beneficial because they know that, you're not just trying to get rich off of them, that you're actually trying to add value. And that means a lot. That's also why sometimes people take advantage of that credibility that you get, that, hey, I know you. And I've had to tell some folks that are in, MLM that I love you, but I'm not going to participate in that. But if you're really providing a service to people, I think having that community is very beneficial. One of my first buyers was a referral from a young lady at the church who was a stylist. Had a regular customer who said, hey, I want to buy a house, but I don't know who to go to, who to trust. And she automatically thought of me. And that's the goal of an entrepreneur, is whatever space you're in to be top 3 in people's minds. And I was top 3 in her mind on realtors that are trustworthy. And she reached out to me and said, hey, I gave your number to this person, and this person's going to reach out, or you could reach out to them. There's their number. And I reached out, and we were able to get them across the finish line. And so, yeah, that happens when you're in a group where people know you, trust you, love you. They want you to succeed. And they're going to send any potential business your way.
There's no community really like a faith-based community. And I can't speak to other faith traditions like those that are maybe in the Muslim tradition. I'm sure there are a lot of similarities when it comes to this aspect of community, but there's no community quite like a church, because one, you spend so much time there, and this depending on which tradition you come from. Like where we were, the type of church that we came out of, we had Sunday
Boom.
night, Monday
Boom.
night Bible study, we had prayer
Bang.
at 5 a.m, we
Boom.
had midweek service, we had
Boom.
men's fellowship, we had ladies fellowship,
Boom.
we had youth fellowship, we had
Boom.
camp meetings,
Don't forget Saturday morning prayer.
Saturday morning prayer.
Saturday morning outreach.
right afterwards, outreach. And then there's the days that we have to go to the church to clean up the church. I mean, there was so much going on at the church. So we were just around each other all the time, which actually has there's some negative consequences to that, and we'll talk about that later. But you really do build life in these types of communities that's so unique to every other type of community that you could be a part of, that really does create a foundation, not only for your faith and what you believe, but also just in the network of people that you're around. Because you talked about trust, and that's one of the biggest things when it comes to building a business or building a brand, is building trust. Yeah, and when you have 100%. People who trust you, where if they want a particular thing, let's say you're a plumber in a church, and all the families in general are like, man, I need a plumber. They know Brother Joe is a plumber from the church. They're going to call Brother Joe because they trust him. Because
they know he ain't going to try to sell them a new, this, that, a new water heater and you this, that they don't really need.
Well, because if you scam them, they're going to be looking at you side eye on Sunday.
You're going to have to find a new church, my brother.
So you can't really,
and you might end up in that pastor's office. Like, now, come on now. You're robbing the sheep. You robbing the sheep.
Getting sat down. You used to be the deacon. Now you getting sat down because you gave them some faulty items. So we can't be doing that. But so there's a level of accountability from the people that you're working with. And furthermore, let's say somebody in the church does refer you, and then you go and you scam their friend. Now they're looking at you like, I was going to invite them to Sunday. I was going to invite them to service.
Now you're ruling my testimony with your bougie self, with your lying self, with your jackleg service. You probably, I hope to God you didn't make this person lose their soul, because now they're looking at like, church folks are looking to scam. And it's I'm telling you, bro, like, it's funny to me how when one person does something wrong, it's all the church folk. But when a bunch of people do something right, it's like, nah, because again, our minds are predispositioned to find the negative. And when somebody say, well, that's why I don't go to church. No, it ain't. You got your own reasons, but it's not somebody else's action.
That's why nobody comes to this church, because y'all be scamming people and y'all look at people funny when they So you have that. So if for people who are trying, and again, the people we're talking to are those that are trying to do right by people. We're not looking for those that are trying to scam
scammers.
So you have a built-in community that if you are living according to the values that faith community subscribes to, then they have a level of confidence that they can refer your business to other people. That one, you're going to service them well, and you're going to serve as a good testimony, and two, you're going to be able, like, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So that's invaluable when building a credible business, is having a sphere of influence that willingly refers other people to you. But I think there's also some elements of just the faith tradition in general, this idea of hope, which we know is so important for entrepreneurs, because there's so much things that discourage us to have this regular rhythm of being uplifted and being filled with hope that God is going to be there for us. And we have a preacher who's going to build us up and give us hope that, when we go to that next week, we're going to be able to conquer whatever it is that we need to conquer, and we're going to be able to overcome the obstacles and the things. We have that on as a regular part of our rhythm when we're a part of these faith traditions. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's necessary. So for me, I listen to sermons on a regular basis. I listen to podcasts on a regular basis that motivate. I listen to affirmations that motivate and keep me grounded, keep me centered. And having that is essential to keep that mindset that you need to succeed in entrepreneurship. And even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, even going to work 9 to 5, sometimes you're going to feel like, probably if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're most likely going to feel most days like, man, not again. Because I remember being almost like a zombie, just waking up like, oh, here we go again, and just clocking in and waiting for the time to clock out, because I know, okay, I got to do these tasks, but I'm not passionate about what it is, and I don't feel like I'm affecting the world in a positive way. So yeah, having that as a regular part of life, it leaves you very little time to get into trouble. Okay, it leaves you very little time to get into trouble. You can't go out and party like you really want to if you know you got to be on Saturday morning prayer. Okay, let's let's keep it all the way 100. All right, and I think that's by design too. That's by design right there. And you're not gonna go out Saturday night like you want to if you know you got to be on there on Sunday, right? I mean, some still do it. I'm not gonna say some don't, but it gives you, like you said, a good rhythm pattern where you're setting your schedule. Hey, these are the times that I'm setting out to develop my relationship with God, and in that process, I'm developing relationships with people that are developing relationships with God. And those people may happen to need the service that I provide. And we could go from there and say, hey, if you need my service, and I've done this several times where I will sponsor something that the church is doing. Most recent one is they do a mental health / getaway for ministers and leaders. And for the last 3 years, we've sponsored a portion of that, because I don't know if our listeners know, but a lot of ministers are broke, brother. Okay. The ones that you see on Preachers of LA, that's like watching LeBron and there's a lot more basketball players in the world than the 430, I think, that you see in the NBA. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands who don't operate at that level. And even those that are in the NBA, they're not getting the checks that LeBron's getting. So like the preachers that you see on TV and you see on these articles, a lot of times they are the exception, not the rule, in terms of their economic standing. And so, yes, as an entrepreneur, I've been blessed enough to be able to support the vision that I feel goes with my purpose, like with what I'm trying to do. Like having people who are trying to serve other people have a day or a weekend to get away, go to a nice hotel and get poured into, and not have to be the server and be served. That, that's something that as an entrepreneur I get to do, which really blesses me. And every time I've done that, I've seen the blessing from the people being refreshed and renewed and coming back with, a new sense of hope. Like, okay, everything doesn't go right when you're serving God.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go, it rains on the just and the unjust. Sometimes you got to go through some manure. And it's good to have some people to say, hey, man, I stepped on some dung too, and I was able to scrape it off.
Well, all right. On that note, so you mentioned discipline, like you develop certain disciplines that I think are very, very essential for a successful entrepreneur in the long run. Like, it's a pretty good thing, to be honest. when you're serving people, it's very important to care about people, right? Look out for people's best interests, to serve them. And church gives you that opportunity to do that, as well as you develop rhythms of your life. Because as an entrepreneur, we mentioned this in a previous episode, like you have to control your schedule in a lot of ways. Yes. And being a part of a church community, it really does allow you to be a little bit more structured, because there are these set times that you are dedicating to serving in that community, being a part of that service, that it forces you to be more disciplined in terms of the way your time is used. So having that actually can be very valuable, especially if all you're doing is being an entrepreneur. Being a part of a church allows you to be a bit more disciplined because you have set times that you have to work through, and then you're not gonna be out partying, right? You're not gonna be out clubbing all night,
Yeah.
and eventually
Those
you
are
want to stop
expenses as
doing that.
well. Yeah, those are expenses as well. And
Those are
I've had times as an entrepreneur where I've been working so much I forgot what day it is. I forget what day it is.
Mhm.
I'll completely be like, oh wait, is today Thursday or Friday? Because I'm not getting a check every Friday, so I'm not really looking forward to that necessarily, or the weekends. A lot of weekends I choose to work because I'm just that hungry. But yeah, it gives you, like you said, a sense of being grounded and knowing, okay, this is what the day holds. These are the things that I've set aside. And another episode, I'll talk about time blocking and how that works for all entrepreneurs, to block time for family, to block time for prayer, to block time for yourself, to block time to work on your business where you're not answering calls from the customers that you have right now, but you're setting some things in place to bring in new customers. And then you block time to
Mhm.
reach out to those customers that reached out to you. So, yes, it does give you a sense of rhythm. Hey, this is what's going on this day, that day. And it gives you kind of a second family, a community of people that you believe are wanting your best interests and you want their best to happen as well. So, yes, I 100% agree with that.
And usually, in most cases, people who go to a church are looking to make positive changes in their lives as well. So there's
Yes.
like this, regardless of where they're coming from in life, a lot of times when you're committing to joining a church and being a part of that community, it usually is you trying to overcome obstacles and really to have a much more positive outlook for your life and your future. So there's a constant, ironing, sharpening iron, usually among those that are a part of that community. So there are countless positive things that we didn't even talk about, like just even the positive things that some churches do for the community that you and your ministry or your business can be a part of, and just giving back and all of those things, learning generosity. These are all things that we learn and that we develop inside of a church. Even reading the Bible, like the Bible in many ways gives a lot of good insights to entrepreneurs and people who are trying to start
Yeah.
businesses. You look at
Yeah.
the book of Proverbs and you look at some of the things that even Jesus said. There's countless wisdom that we can grow from in the Christian faith and in many different faiths that will help you to be a better entrepreneur and
Yeah.
to be someone that can actually benefit and grow in terms of your business and what it is that you're trying to accomplish.